because he's already prepared for what I might do. He knows what I'm going to do before I do it, and he already made preparation for me before I get there. What follows darkness is light. That darkness is the indicator that light is getting ready to shine. So there it is in Genesis, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God in the spirit form moved upon the face of the waters, and then God said, let there be. Because darkness precedes the light. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But he needs the darkness there so that God can move upon the face of the deep, so that the shift can take place. Listen, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor that shift take place in the darkness. Oh God, y'all didn't hear what I just said. Everybody's not going to see the shift that's happening. They see the chaos, but they don't see the shift. They see all the craziness going on in your life, but they don't understand that underneath the darkness, God is moving in secret. He's moving in quiet. He's moving in the hidden places. He's moving in the cracks and the corners and the crevices. He's moving in places that you cannot see. And when the light comes, they're going to see a new order. But untying. And so the universe then has no choice. First attribute of the secret place. The secret place is a place of revelation. It makes you free because it awakens you and makes you consciously aware that everything that you thought was holding you is an illusion. Hey! I forgot to put myself on screen. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Emerge Empowerment Session. You have tuned into the most powerful place on the planet because this is the place where we empower you on your journey towards spiritual wholeness. I'm Isaac J. Miles, and I am your instructor for the night, and I am so glad that you've decided to join me in this conscious conversation that we have been having. I'm sorry about last night. We had to miss last night. Circumstances beyond my control that didn't allow me to be able to jump on with you last night. But we're back tonight to pick up where we left off and to begin with the first agreement in our study of the book, the phenomenal book by Don Miguel Ruiz entitled The Four Agreements. And we began on the first night just laying some foundational understanding, talking about how we have been so programmed and domesticated over our lifetime, and trying to rediscover our own voice, our true self, and what is really true for us, what is our own essential, unique truth that we can live in, and not to continue to live our lives based upon someone else's truth or someone else's idea of what we should be, who we should be, and how we should act. And so tonight I don't want to go back over that again. I want to go right into this very first agreement. If you have the book, you can go ahead and turn to that chapter. I think that is chapter 2 in the book. Hopefully it's the same for those of you who have the paperback, and then those who have it on Kindle. Excuse me. If you have it on Kindle, then it's chapter 2. If you have it in paperback, I think that is chapter 2 as well. But go ahead and turn there in your book and follow along with me. Again, I'm not going to read the entirety of it verbatim. I'm going to read as much as I possibly can, but I want to pick out some pertinent points that I want to emphasize and that we can begin to impact. And we will take those particular passages, excuse me, and expound upon them as we reach each one of them. All right? Go ahead and take a moment. There's about 10, 11 of you on that right now across both platforms here on Facebook as well as on YouTube. If you, all 11 of you, would just go ahead and share this on your page for me, invite others to come and join us in this conversation. Tag as many people as you possibly can in the comments. And let's see if we can't grow the audience and build this platform out a little bit more and get others to join us so we can have a full and robust conversation tonight. And Theresa, I'm so glad to see you tagging Gloria and Jamie and Stephanie and Rachel. I miss them. They normally tune in pretty regularly, and for whatever reason, hadn't seen them lately. So go ahead and tag them again. And hey, my brother, yay, Bishop, how you doing, man? Good to see you on here. But yeah, go ahead and tag them, and if you got the number, text them real quick. Tell them I asked about them. I miss them. I haven't seen them in a minute. Okay, and so let's get ready to start with chapter 2 and the very first agreement: be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. And for those of you who are just tuning in, or those of you who may not have missed our first one, we are walking through the phenomenal best-selling book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a fantastic book. It's one of those books that I recommend to everybody, especially those who are in the beginning stages of their spiritual journey and rediscovering their own divinity. It's a very good foundational book, and I think that it's really helpful in helping us to be able to take those next steps in evolving and this evolutionary journey that we are making in the three-dimensional. Excuse me, I might need to go get a glass of water. But for this particular book, I think that it will impact your life greatly. If you haven't gotten a copy of it, you haven't purchased it, go ahead and purchase the book as well. I don't get anything from the purchase of the book. I don't know the author or anything like that. I'm recommending it because it is a fantastic, phenomenal, impactful book. Okay? All right. So we're going to begin with the first agreement. And remember that whatever it is that we do, how we live our life, what we believe, what has gone into formulating our belief system, everything that we do, every decision we make, every move we make, every choice that we do so by agreement. We are agreeing to a certain set of ideas or beliefs or images and imaginations that have been embedded within us. And we already established in our first conversation that not everything that is a part of our belief system came from us. As a matter of fact, most of it didn't come from us. Most of our belief system was given to us by our parents and our friends and our relatives in our religion, whatever religious ideology that you practice, or your culture, or your environment. All of these things impacted your thought process and began to hand you or impose upon you a certain set of values and beliefs and ideas that formulated your belief system. And 90% or even higher of what you would even say, I know to be true, you only know it to be true as far as what you were told. Even right down to your name. You agree with those that were around you who told you that your name was whatever your name happens to be. They told you that your name was Yvette or Toya or Theresa, or they told you that your name was Isaac. And so because that's what you were told, and then that is what was repeated to you again and again, they called you by that name, they communicated with you with that name. Faith comes by hearing, ekion, that is what we continuously hear. It becomes embedded and entrenched within our mind, and we begin to accept it as our truth to the point where that we actually believe that it originated with us. But in fact, many of the thoughts, beliefs, and ideologies that we hold as our truth didn't originate with us. They originated with our surroundings, our community, our culture, our family, our friends, our religion, your preacher, your pastor, your bishop, your prophet. It originated with other people. Excuse me. I got a little tickle in my throat. Okay. So, and then you accept that as your truth, and you begin to now, by agreement, you agree that this is true, you agree that this is a fact. So by agreement, you begin to live out or live within the parameters of those particular beliefs. But those beliefs don't always serve your highest good or your highest potential. We looked at several ways that certain beliefs that are antithetical to our growth, our development, our evolution, that are antithetical to our highest good, yet we hold on to them because Reverend Cutthroat told us, and Prophet Hoodoo said, and Mama Nim told me, and great grandmama said. And so we hold on to it even when presented with infallible proof that what you were told is not the case. We are so married to those beliefs that we find it hard to separate ourselves from them and to divorce those beliefs. and begin to embrace a greater, higher, more fulfilling, impactful, and productive truth. Which brings us to our first agreement. I don't want to get too caught up into that part of the conversation because I know me, I'll keep going down that road. There's a lot in that, just that idea to unpack and to talk about. There's an entire book to be written just on the domestication, the programming that all of us have had to endure. Whether you are a part of a particular religious ideology or not, you can be a complete atheist, but you've still endured a great deal of indoctrination just from the society that you live in, the culture you were raised in, the family and the environment that you grew up in from the time of your conception up until this very moment. I keep saying I'm going to move on, and I keep going back down that road. So let's get to this first agreement. If you're ready, let's start with chapter 2. Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. I think that's a powerful statement. Let's keep going. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word, listen to this. You should write this down in your notes. I'm going to read it. Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the power that you have to create. The word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John in the Bible speaks of the creation of the universe, saying, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. Through the Word, you express your creative power. It is through the Word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your inner manifests, your intent manifests through your words. I'm going to pause right there. I want to really, really hone in on that. Let's unpack that for a moment. Okay, let's unpack that for a moment. He says that your word is the power you have to create. I want you to think about what that is saying. Your word is the power that you have to create. Those of us who read the Bible or have read the Bible know that there are several passages that address this particular thing. That of in the beginning was the word. He used that one in the book, and then it talks about death and life are in the power of the tongue, and then it talks about how that you will have whatsoever you say. Now, here's something that I want to point out to you. And I was having a conversation with the divine, with God, and about this particular passage. And you guys know that in previous teachings I've taught you that we have 4 levels of communication. That is our feelings or intuition, our thoughts, and then our experience, and then finally words. And that words are the lowest form of communication. As a matter of fact, in highly evolved, with highly evolved beings in highly evolved societies in other dimensions, words are not used to communicate at all. They communicate through thought. And when I say words, I mean as far as sound vibration that comes from the mouth, because of course we think in terms of words, but they use thought and intuitive feeling in order to be able to commune and communicate with others. Words are reserved for creation. And while I was having a conversation with God, I said to God, I asked God, I'm like, okay, since words are such a low form of communication, why are they such a low form? Why is it that they are not as on equal playing field as vibrations? And what God said to me was, listen to what he says, that it's because words were never intended for communication. Words were intended for creation. Let me say that again. Words, the intent for words was never communication, but creation. Because when we open our mouth and begin to pronounce and speak and announce words, we are releasing a sound, and that sound is a vibration, and it vibrates at a frequency that demands a response from all of nature and the universe, causing it to realign itself with the vibration of the sound that comes from our mouth. It is not necessarily the structure of the word or even the language of the word, because regardless of the language, it is the sound vibration that is being released with a certain mental intent that we have now processed into a word form that goes out and meets the vibration of the universe and all of nature, demanding it now to come into alignment with that vibrational frequency. And in doing so, the frequency increases in velocity and begins to formulate mass. And that mass is manifestation. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It is manifestation, not increasing, decreasing in velocity to create manifestation. Remember the example of the rock, that when you look at a rock from a distance, it seems like a sedentary, stationary object. But as you hone in closer and begin to look at it microscopically, you see that there is movement, because the neutrons, electrons are constantly moving in order to formulate this, what we call a stationary object. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It moves at a frequency, a velocity that is the exact speed that would cause it to begin to take shape, a form, to produce matter, and there we have this rock. Well, the same is true with our word, that when we say a word out of our mouth, it does not go out and return to us void or empty or unproductive, but it will reap what it's supposed to reap. And while you're understanding what I'm saying, it goes to the place whereunto it was sent. And so when you begin to speak, declare, or say a word, you are releasing a vibrational force of energy that is vibrating at a frequency that demands all energy around it to now conform to it, so until it begins to produce matter or manifestation. So our word, yes, our words are for creation. They were never intended for communication. We decided as a human species to make words a form of communication, and even elevated it to the highest form of communication, when in fact it is a lower form. It is a secondary use of the energy that is being released. If you notice again that in the beginning was this word, that is a thought, the idea, the concept, and then the word became flesh. How? And God said. And God said, let there be light. And God said, and God said. And so as God speaks or declares, then that sound wave vibration goes into the atmosphere and begins to now take shape or form and to manifest. Well, because we are a unique divine expression of God, that is God in the flesh, divine being, then the same process is true with us. So whatever we say, we cause to come into manifestation as we declare it, as sound is released from our mouth. Yes, it travels into this atmosphere. And even after you have said it and you might think, oh, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean this. Whatever energy is released, it continues to exist. It travels out into the universe, gathering the elements necessary to bring it into manifestation. Are you understanding what I'm saying? The only way that you can stop that or change that is to change what you say. You want to change what's manifesting in your life? Change how you speak. Change what you are releasing into the atmosphere. Your words are the seeds of causation that cause a permanent, not permanent, rather, but a definite effect. It causes a definite exacting effect. Your words are the seed of causation that creates an effect. So we have to be impeccable. To be impeccable means that we are not just careful, but without error in our words, that we are thinking before we speak. Woo! Yeah, that we are going through the process of thinking and understanding and being intentional and deliberate, not just loquacious, constantly jibber-jabbering at the mouth, but being thoughtful and intentional and deliberate, because we understand the power that we are releasing into the atmosphere when we begin to speak, declare, or say a word into the atmosphere. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? Let me keep reading from the book. Oh, I'm sorry. I see some of your comments. Yes, our words are like seeds. We should be careful of the words we choose to speak in our lives and the lives of others. Exactly. Oh man, we're coming to that real good, real soon. That lives of others. We're going to talk about that tonight as well. But that's very true. They are like seed. I want to continue to read. Picking up where we left off. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It is the power you have to express and to communicate, to think, and thereby create the events in your life. You can speak. You can speak. What other animals on the planet can speak. The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. Woo, Lord, listen to that. The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human, or rather as a spirit that is having a human experience. As a divine spirit experiencing itself as three-dimensional form, it is the tool of magic. Your words create magic. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. And yes, hell exists, but not as some mythological place beneath the earth that's burning with fire and brimstone and the worm dieth not, but it is the hell that we create for ourselves on earth, our lived experience, our mental experience, our soul experience, because of our own thoughts, words, and deeds in the earth realm. We are creating a living hell by misusing this magical, powerful force that we have called words. Listen. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty and love and heaven on earth. Depending upon how you use it, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic you possess is based in your word. The word is pure magic, and misuse of the word, he calls it black magic. I disagree with that because I hate categorizing black as negative about anything, because black is not negative. That is a misnomer. That is something that has been entrenched and programmed in us to think that everything black is wicked and evil, and that's not the case. But I understand what he's trying to say. He's saying that the misuse of it is a different type of magic where it creates situations and circumstances that don't serve us and that are undesirable. He calls it black magic. I don't call it black magic. I just call it magic, but it's undesirable magic. Rather than creating what we desire, we are creating what we don't desire. Isn't it crazy how mentally we know what we don't desire, yet we speak words that are in alignment with what we say or we think that we don't desire? Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? In your mind, you desire abundance. You desire increase and comfort. But from your mouth, you say those things that are antithetical and that counteract your thoughts by saying, I'm poor, I'm broken, I don't have no money, I'm broke, and I'm struggling, and child, I'm just trying to make it and climbing up the rough side of the mountain, and I'm having a hard time, and I'm just trying to make ends meet, and I can't hardly rub two nickels together. So you keep speaking things that are the exact opposite of what it is that you say you desire. You desire to have a companion in your life who will love you, appreciate you, understand you, align perfectly with you, and yet you say from your mouth, don't nobody want me, and don't nobody care about me, and ain't no good men out there, or there are no good women out there, and all of them are this way, and all of them are that way, and I ain't gonna listen, like I'm never gonna be happy. Or I'm the one that is always they pass through me and go on to the next one. I'm there to make them better, and then they leave and go on to somebody else. And I don't have this, and I don't have that. You are speaking words that are in direct opposition to what it is that you have already thought that you truly desire. And so you are creating a conflict between what your words are assigned to create and what your thought and your intuitive desire is. You are speaking out of belief instead of out of knowing. Oh, God, let me say that again. You are speaking out of belief, what you have accepted as your truth, rather than out of the intuitive knowing that absolutely knows that you are abundant, you are prosperous, you are blessed, you are beautiful, you are brilliant, you are great, you are divine, and yet you sit there and call yourself silly and stupid and crazy lazy and slow and fat and ugly and call yourself a bitch and all these other, a nigger and this, that. You call yourself this. Are you hearing me? Huh? And so, and yet, we already know that that's not really your heart or your intuitive desire or your intuitive truth, because if somebody else were to call you that, you get angry, you be offended, you be mad. But how are you going to be angry about someone saying about you what you keep saying about yourself? Come on, y'all don't want to talk to me tonight. Y'all don't want to talk to me. Y'all mighty quiet in those comments down there. You're mighty quiet in the comments. You can't be upset, angry, and offended when someone is repeating back to you what you have already been saying about yourself. Nor can you be upset that you keep attracting the same things and the same people and the same circumstances because you keep creating them by your own words. Your tongue, your words are magic, and your tongue is the magic wand that is being used to abracadabra, hocus pocus, and create a reality that you live in. Are you hearing me? That is completely antithetical to what you intuitively desire. What is your highest good and your highest desire? What is it that you truly desire? You are saying things that are completely opposite to it. And then now because you have that conflict where you keep manifesting these things that you don't desire, yet you still maintain this inner desire for something that is the opposite, they keep butting heads. And that leads to frustration, aggravation, depression. I don't look like I'm gonna ever get here. Ain't nothing good ever gonna happen to me. I ain't gonna never get married. I'm gonna always be broke. I'm gonna always be stuck. Seem like ain't nothing ever gonna go. Child, I take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. How you doing? Ooh, child, you don't really want to know if I told you how I was really doing. Are you understanding what I'm saying? You are creating by the force of your words, by the power of your word, you are creating a reality that is antithetical to what it is that you most desire, that the soul desires, that your spirit longs for. Yet you, instead of giving voice to your spirit, giving voice to the desire of your soul, give voice to the beliefs that have been entrenched within your mind, that are just an illusion. They're a lie. They're not even true. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Yes, and Yvette says that is because those seeds were already planted by our parents when we started to grow, and it became a wildfire. Yes. Yes. Okay? Let me keep reading. We're coming to that part right there. We're going to unpack that real good. Hey, Deborah, good to see you. The word is so powerful that one word can change a life or destroy the lives of millions of people. Some years ago, one man in Germany, by the use of the word, manipulated a whole country of the most intelligent people. He led them into a world war with just the power of his word. He convinced others to commit the most atrocious acts of violence. He activated people's fear with the word. And like a big explosion, there was killing and war all around the world, all over the world. Humans destroyed other humans because they were afraid of each other. Hitler's word, based on fear-generated beliefs and agreements, will be remembered for centuries. Because the human mind is like a fertile ground where seeds are continually planted. The seeds are opinions and ideas and concepts. You plant the seed, a thought, a seed and a thought, and it grows and it becomes a belief, it becomes an idea, it becomes your truth, and then it informs your words. Think about what he just said about how Hitler, with just the power of his word, incited an entire nation of people and caused them to turn to atrocious, violent acts of torture against an entire race of people. And just a little side note. Here's a little side note. This is free, don't cost you nothing. A little bit off the subject since we're mentioning Hitler. Please take some time and do some research to find out about how the Black and African people were treated during that same period of time, because it was not just the Jews who experienced the Holocaust, but there were hundreds of thousands of Blacks and Africans that were also tortured and killed during that time. Do your research. You'll find out that I'm saying that's true. But that's free. That don't cost you nothing. But through the power of his words, think about all of those crazy, idiotic, insane people who attacked the Capitol of the United States on January 6th. Now, some of these people were doctors and lawyers and policemen and soldiers and all from all different professions. So they were not uneducated, but they have been incited simply by the power of a word, of the words of an idiot. Are you hearing me? Of the words of an idiot who spoke to their own underlying racism, their underlying dissatisfaction and anger, and he began to incite them to violence. And before you know it, they found themselves acting out according to his word, because the word, like seeds of causation, is planted into the fertile ground of the mind, creating a thought, which then in turn creates an corresponding action, cause and effect. Are you hearing what I'm saying? All by the power of a word. That's all he had. Trump has nothing else. He has nothing else. It's just simply the power of his word, being able to convince millions upon millions of people to act in ways that they would not normally act. Well, some of them would, but a great number of them wouldn't have normally act this way. Yet his word was such power and influence that the seeds of causation tapped into their thought life and produced the corresponding action. Are you hearing me? How many of us, how many of our own behaviors and choices and decisions and perceptions and perspectives are not really our own, but were given to us by our parents, by our culture, by our environment, by our religion? Think about some of the things that you have held dear as a belief. Got a tear in your eye and a lump in your throat and a quickening in your body because they talked about, are you hearing what I'm saying? You're being a sinner and unworthy and nasty and filthy and stuck in the muck and the mire, and that the only way that God could redeem you, this is the creator of the universe, the all-powerful, the divine, the ultimate mind, the source of all, the all of everything, yet the only way that he could redeem you was to send himself himself in human form and then have him tortured, killed, and murdered in order for you to escape. Now, I just need you to just kind of just think about that. Now, it's been your truth your entire for a lot of you your entire life, because that's what you were taught, that's what you were told, and it is so near and dear to your heart that when people would talk about it, preach about it, sing about it, you get a tear in your eye, a lump in your throat, a quickening in your spirit. They're throwing your hands up and cry and snot and roll over and jump over pews and fall and kick and snarl and all these other things, these other antics and spiritual calisthenics, all on something you never took the time to simply think about and go like, wait a minute, hold on, hold. Are you telling me that God is so impotent, so powerless, so weak that all it could do in order to redeem me was to offer up human sacrifice? It needed me, us, to offer up human sacrifice? So God requires human sacrifice of blood. Think about what you're saying. Come on, y'all. Come on. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm not trying to upset anyone. Not trying to make anyone mad. I just want you to understand the power of words. And I am not discounting any of what the Bible says about this, that, or the other. What I am discounting is the misinterpretation that has been passed on to us from one generation to the next that put us in a position of being victims and poor, pitiful pilgrims and paupers trying to journey through this land, trying to make heaven our home. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Reduced divine beings, divine, unique expressions of God in three-dimensional form being reduced to these poor, pitiful pilgrims climbing up the rough side of the mountain just trying to make heaven my home. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Words are so powerful that you can begin to plant the seeds of causation within the mind of children, in the mind of the susceptible, and you create a behavior based upon a perspective and an outlook that you have given them, not only about themselves, but then consequently about the world around them. Think about it. You say to a child that, oh, you black, and so in this country, you ain't gonna never be able to do this, you'll never be able to do that, and you'll never be able to do this. And black people are supposed to act this way and think this way because, you know, we're all a monolith. We're supposed to all think the same thing, act the same way, do the same thing, like the same things, eat the same food. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Or you say things like you just dumb, you stupid, or don't nobody love you, don't nobody want you, ain't nobody ever gonna want you, or you ain't cute, ain't nothing cute about you, ain't nothing smart about you, you just slow. You get on my last nerve, I wish I never had you. All of those are powerful seeds that are being planted in susceptible minds that now the soul begins to interpret and now they formulate an idea, a belief system, of thought that now comes out in their words, and they begin the whole process of creating a reality for themselves that is centered around the words that they have accepted as their truth that didn't even originate with them. They originated with their parents and grandparents and cousins and aunties and friends and community or their church or their environment or their society. We don't even allow children the liberty and the freedom to begin to think for themselves. We tell them what to think instead of teaching them how to think, to be critical in their thinking, to be analytical in their thinking. We tell them what to think instead. And don't you dare ask questions. Don't be questioning me. It's because I said so. And that carries over to religion. You don't question God. It's because he said so. God don't answer to you. You answer to God. What? Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Come on, I know I'm striking some nerves out there. Y'all mighty quiet in these comment streets. I know, but I know that I'm striking a nerve with many of you that are out there. And we have to now, in order to begin to eradicate this stuff, we have to now take on a new intentionality to be impeccable with our words. Okay? I'm skipping ahead in the book. Now let us see what the word impeccability means. Watch this. Impeccability, or to be impeccable, means to be without sin. That is, to be without error. Impeccable comes from the Latin pectus, which means sin, and the M in impeccable means without. So impeccable means without sin. And we know sin is simply error. That is to miss the mark, to misperceive, misunderstand. And so when he talks about being impeccable with your word, he's saying to make sure that our words are without error. How do we do that? By thinking more than we speak, by taking the time to be analytical, intentional, deliberate in our words that we release from our mouth, to let them remain within the chambers of thought until we have formulated the type of word or wand that we want to use to perform this magic. Huh? Because when you speak words are spelled, it is a spelling, or you are casting a spell. Woo! Yes, you are casting a spell. You are releasing seeds of causation into the atmosphere and into the fertile soil of the soul of the hearer. Think about how impactful your words are. And so he says, be impeccable, without error, without sin, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't say it if you don't mean it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Say what you mean what you say. Take the time to think and be intentional about the effect of the word, the vibration, the energy that you are about to release through your pie hole, through your mouth. Do you want to see the effect or the manifestation, the matter that is created from the vibrational frequency of the word or sound that you are releasing from your mouth? Is that really what you want to put out there in the atmosphere? Is that really what you want to go out and reap for you? Be impeccable. Be impeccable with how you speak to yourself, how you speak to your friends, your family, your children, how you speak about situations and circumstances and whatever it is that you're involved in. Be impeccable, be intentional, be without error. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay, I kind of ran off and forgot the comments over here. Let me go over here. Uh, do you think that a lot of this stems from the ancestry where slaves had to conform to the masters, and from that point, that is where the mentality of being worthless comes into play? Sure, a lot of it comes from that. We carry a lot of that generational mindset. That is the generational curses. A generational curse are generational words that formulate a thought process that is handed down from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Are you hearing me? And yes, some of it is definitely tied to our time in bondage, in slavery, our foreparents being in slavery and being treated and told and taught that we were less than, that we were dumb, that we were ignorant, that we were only 1/3 human, that we were cattle, that we were property, that we were less intelligent, that we had less capability, less creative. Remember that they did not go to Africa and capture slaves. They captured inventors and scientists and mathematicians and kings and princes and queens and great aristocrats and made them slaves. How do you make a slave? You break their will by breaking their spirit, by changing how they view themselves. That was the reason for all the brutality. That was the reason for all the torture. That was the reason for all of the malicious things that were done to try and break that mindset of greatness and creativity that was within us, a part of our DNA, and convince us that we were less than what we were. Hello? That's exactly what happened. Okay? Theresa says, I heard a phrase before, go out into the world and preach the gospel and only use words when necessary. I like that. That's good. That's good. Go out into the world, preach the gospel, and only use words when necessary. Absolutely. That's good right there. Yeah, let your actions, your behaviors be the gospel that you preach. That's really good. But I want you to see the power of words. Okay? And please understand that creation works indiscriminately for and against, positive and negative. And words are the seeds of creation or causation. And so words can either be a cursing or a blessing. How many of you were cursed as children? I know I was. You were too. Not hocus pocus, abracadabra, not boils and toils of troubles and bubbles and all that other kind of craziness that we see on TV. Everything, until you do right by me, everything you touch gonna crumble. No, not that kind of thing. No, I'm talking about the word curses that was spoken over us. You'll never be nothing. You'll never have anything. You just lazy. You just like your no good daddy. You just like your old hot tail, fast tail mama. You ain't never gonna do this. You just dumb. You just stupid. You just slow. Curses. And then when the child begins to conform to the words that are being implanted within them, it makes the parent even angrier. And they begin to curse them even more. when you are the one who created the issue in the first place. You're the reason they're acting the way that they are. I met a young girl. Is it, maybe it's incorrect to call her girl, even though girl is a gender, but a young lady. She's about 23. And I walked up on her when she didn't know that I was coming and heard her singing. The most beautiful, gorgeous voice. And I was like, oh my God, you have such a great voice. And she immediately clammed up. I'm like, you sing really well. You should sing. Do you sing at church? Do you sing with a group? Do you sing? She's like, oh, no, never. No. I don't sing for nobody but me. I sing my out. No, I don't. I'm like, but you got a fantastic, phenomenal voice. She's like, no, I can't really sing. I really can't sing. I'm like, what? Who told you you can't sing? And you know what she said to me? My mama told me a long time ago that I couldn't sing. She said, I remember it as a kid. She was in the kitchen doing dishes, and I was singing in the other room. And she came in there and told me, shut all that noise up, girl. You can't sing. You have a horrible voice. Don't nobody want to hear you with all that noise. And she said, from that day to this one, I never sang in public again. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And hidden underneath all of that trauma, all of those seeds of causation, is the most beautiful gift hidden away, because she's been convinced that no matter how beautiful her voice is, everyone else, whoever would hear her sing, would be like, oh my God, girl, she's convinced that her voice sounds terrible and nobody would want to hear her. You should have saw the look of embarrassment and humiliation on her face when I said, oh my God, you have such a beautiful voice. No, not me. No, I don't. No, I can't sing. No, something wrong with your hearing. I know I can't sing. Hello? How many things have you decided that you can't do because you were told that you can't? That you weren't smart enough, you weren't creative enough, you didn't have the ability or the talent or the skill, that you came from the wrong place, born into the wrong family, you're the wrong color. Are you understanding what I'm saying? We have to be impeccable with our words, with ourselves, with our children, with our friends, about every situation and circumstance, to say what you mean and mean what you say, to be intentional and deliberate about what we release into the atmosphere, into the universe. What vibrational frequency are we releasing? Because our words are a creative force. Okay? And we are over time. Wow. Time went by really, really fast. It went by really, really fast. Oh, yeah, that's right. That information that's a great book, The Making of a Slave. If you have not read that book, you should buy that book and read it. The side note, but yeah, you should definitely get that book. That is a great book. Okay? But yes, we curse ourselves and our children. Okay? I know, Toya, it does. It feels like we just started, and yet it's been an hour and 5 minutes. I'm actually 6 minutes. I'm 6 minutes over time. We'll be back tomorrow night and we will pick up where we left off. We're going to talk a little bit more about being impeccable with our words. And then we're going to go to the second agreement, which is not to take anything personal. Woo! That's a tough one right there. Hopefully we'll get to it tomorrow. I don't know. We may not get to that one tomorrow. Don't take anything personally, because there's a lot more with this power of words that I want to unpack. So we're going to try and unpack the rest of it tomorrow. And then if hopefully we'll start with don't take anything personally. But if we don't take it personal. We'll get to it in the very next empowerment session. But tomorrow night, 7:30, meet me here and we will continue the 4 agreements. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of this conversation. I need more of you that are tuned in to talk. There's only been about 3 or 4 of you that were actually communicating in the comments. I need some of the rest of you that have been sitting in the gallery to say something. Put something in the comments. Get involved in the conversation. Don't just be a spectator, be a participator. If you'd like to give tonight, you want to give and contribute to the work that we're doing here and helping us to expand and build this platform, I appreciate whatever gift that you decide to give. It is your choice. We'd love to receive from you. You can use our Cashapp or our Zelle, and we are happy to receive whatever you give. We thank you in advance for your generosity, especially for those of you who use us as a conduit for your tithe. And I feel like I have to say this every single time, tithing is not mandatory. It's not something you're going to be cursed if you don't do it. That it is a principle. It is a practice that you can use that are in line with the laws that center around giving and increase and growth and abundance. Giving. Okay. And tithing is just a principle. It is not a law. You're not going to be cursed if you don't tithe. You're not going to hell if you don't tithe. You're not going to be broke if you don't tithe. But if you are a tither, then you do indeed begin to create a current that creates currency flowing back into your life. And I appreciate those of you who do tithe and give to this work. I appreciate those of you who give generously and give your offerings and love gifts and seed. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your support and for your help. All right, I think that is all I have for you tonight. Again, thank you for tuning in. It was a great conversation. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow night at 7:30. Oh, if you don't want to miss out on any of the conversations, the best way to stay on top of things and to make sure that you are always here is to sign up for our free text notification. Sign up for it. I'm going to put it down at the bottom of the screen right now. Text the word emerge to 833-444-0163. Text that to that and you will automatically be enrolled. Doesn't cost you a nickel, doesn't cost a dime. It just gives you an opportunity to be informed when we're getting ready to come on the air. So go ahead and sign up right now. Do it right now while you're thinking about it so you don't forget about it. And I will see you on tomorrow night at 7:30. Until then, have the best night ever.